First, I should ask you if you're still the happiest man alive or if we should just quit now.
I'm still the happiest man alive, and I'm getting happier every day.
I wanted to tell you that I'm officially agreeing to help you tell your story.
Thank you.
From the desk in my bedroom, I'm Amanda Maxim. This is Happiest Man Alive. Find us on the web at happiestpodcast.com. All right, here's what's going on. That man called me claiming that he's the happiest man alive. He wants me to help him prove scientifically whether or not that's true. That seems like a problem for a psychiatrist. So why did he call me, an astrophysicist? He says that he called me because he needs my logical perspective, and he thought I would understand his story.
The logical perspective that you have in physics is exactly the same approach that I would like to have to the introspective world of philosophy.
I've decided to take him up on his offer, and I'm going to make a podcast about it. This podcast. But the problem is, I don't know how I'm going to prove whether or not he's the happiest man alive. It sounds like a difficult problem. It may even be impossible. I found a beginning. That's episode 1. You should go back and listen if you haven't already, because it's awesome. But now it's episode 2. It's time to choose a path and start moving forward, and I'm already feeling lost. So I wanted to ask someone who knows me well if I have what it takes. Okay, for the record, who are you?
My name is Cindy.
And what's your relationship to me?
I'm your mother.
Yeah, it's my mom. I grew up in Wisconsin and went home this summer to visit. We sat out on the back porch and we talked about the man who called me. Okay, so here's what's going on, Mom. There's this man who called and trying to prove whether or not he's actually the happiest man alive. And I was wondering what you thought. Do you think I have what it takes to solve difficult problems?
Yes, I do believe you have those qualities in you.
Why do you say that, Mom?
When you would have something to put back together, like a telephone, which you once disassembled, you had to put it all back together, and it was a little more difficult when it was all laying in pieces on the floor. But you did. You put it all back together just perfectly. And I've just seen that a lot as a pattern in your life.
Thanks, Mom. I agree. I'm good at solving difficult problems. Just like the telephone. When the pieces are all laid out on the floor, I have a shot at putting them together. And besides, he thinks he's worked it out already. He claims that he's the happiest man alive and that he knows the solution. He wants to tell the world how he did it. He calls it this thing in his chest. Here, listen to this. This thing in your chest, how important is it to you?
It's the most important thing.
The thing in your chest? What is that thing?
It's this. It's the understanding that I've figured out something. I got it. It's working. It's gonna work every time. And I want to put it out. I want to put it out. I have to put it out. That's my life's mission now.
He thinks he's found the solution to happiness, and that the solution is repeatable, which means that it's possible for someone else, someone leading an ordinary life, to take the knowledge he's gained, apply to themselves, and achieve an extraordinary state of happiness. That's the thing in his chest that he wants to tell the world. It's why he says he's the happiest man alive. The scientist in me knows that, of course, it's likely not to be true. And either way, it's going to be hard to prove. I have so many questions.
I'm the happiest man alive.
Is it real? Is kind of like the biggest question.
Sounds suspicious, right? You don't usually hear people talk about about their lives, right?
Yeah, right. If you ask me, are you happy? I'm not sure if I would know how to answer that question because it seems really complicated.
No, I completely get it. It took me years to read, to digest, to implement happiness in my life to the point where I can really say I'm happy.
Yeah.
I think it's an achievement of very few people around you. So if I say weird things like I'm the happiest man alive, it should sound suspicious because you've never heard this from normal people. Because happiness is complicated. We don't know what happiness is. We don't know when we experience it. We confuse happiness with momentary joy or pleasure. And understanding happiness and what it requires is something nobody teaches us. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people around me that not really understanding themselves or can articulate what they want out of life. And this is why I think most people just living, if you go around outside and look at the street, most of the people around you are not like super happy. They're living their lives, ordinary lives. Where I think that if we spread the word about what happiness is and what are the true principles of life, many, many, many more people can live a heroic life, living the best life they can, with a lot of confidence and courage. It's just amazing to me that I'm standing here talking to you about the fact that I know how to go towards happiness after years and years of questioning myself. Am I hallucinating here? Did I just figure out the problem of all problems, or am I dreaming? And people don't appreciate that, and they have no standard by which to judge if you're really making progress or you're just saying that, because everybody is happy, right? My friends are like, yeah, we're happy. I'm talking about real happiness. Real happiness, like grabbing life by the horns and saying, I'm living it. Every day that goes by, I lived it. I'm doing something I want. And when it's going to end, it's going to end. But I squeezed all the juice I could get out of it. No one knows how to do it.
Well, you say you know how to do it.
I know how to do it. But nobody believes me, Amanda. You have to help me.
If he's right and I can prove it, the payoff will be huge. I think I have a plan for episode 2. The first thing I need to do is to call him and tell him that I'm agreeing to help him. And then I need to start pushing back hard on his claim, trying to see if it has some fatal flaw. I want to know the truth as soon as possible.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it seems like it's recording.
I guess first I should ask you if you're still the happiest man alive or if we should just quit now.
I'm still the happiest man alive, and I'm getting happier every day.
I wanted to tell you that I'm officially agreeing to help you tell your story.
Thank you.
But the bad news is I don't know about your claim. I don't know how I'm going to test that scientifically. So I thought, well, what if I find the actual happiest man alive? Then I could prove you wrong, like instantly, right? Because here's the actual happiest man alive, and then you're out. It doesn't even have to be the happiest man alive. It just has to be someone happier than you. And then I can show it's not you. So I want you to know, I put out an advertisement for the real happiest man alive to call me. And what should I tell him when he calls?
To prove it.
To prove it.
Yes, to prove it. And I think that's the question. What is the standard that you're going to apply? Because in physics, you have clear standards. Philosophy is not as easy as rocket science. So I don't know if you have the tools to evaluate if the person you're going to find who's going to claim that they're happier than me is going to prove it to you, and by which standard. But if they do, and you accept their claims that they are happier, I'm up for the challenge. So but I think the real question is, are you clear about what would make them happier?
So you're saying I'm actually making this problem worse for myself.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it makes the problem worse, here's that advertisement. I, Amanda Maxim, am searching for the happiest man alive. If you or someone you know is the happiest man alive, please call me, 228-678-8897. Also, if you can prove it, that'd be good. Okay, go ahead and call. I'll wait. Thanks. Back to the program. There's good news for you on this front because I Googled who the actual happiest man alive was. Do you want to guess who it is?
It was not me, I'm sure. I was not there.
No, it wasn't you.
And it was not Steve Jobs.
No.
Who was it? Like a spiritual person?
Yes,
Okay.
a Buddhist monk.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Typical.
I was hoping to prove you wrong with him, but I don't think it's going to happen because it's not repeatable. I don't want to live up on a mountain and meditate all day. But it's like you have this competing theory then. Mm-hmm. All right, and I'm supposed to test it.
Yeah, scientifically. Part of what I'm saying about the science of philosophy, the principles are universal and objective, but the content of what you put in the principles is subjective, meaning we don't all want to go to the moon. Each one of us has a different moon. And happiness for each one of us is different. We need to teach people the principles and then leave them alone to rationally pour the content into those principles. Where you can say, oh, he's doing really well creating an iPhone, and who's doing really well playing tennis. But they're both doing really, really well. One is Steve Jobs, the other one is Roger Federer, both very successful. One wants to hit balls and the other one wants to put...
They want to put the world in my pocket. That's what they want to do.
And is one better than the other?
No, but yes, in that if I were to choose which to do, I would have an opinion about it. But not for them.
You're you. Not if you're a young person who all they care about is tennis in the world. Is that who cares about Steve Jobs? What is he? He's making plastic. Who cares about this plastic? I want to hit balls perfectly. I want to win. I want to be the world number one tennis player. That's the most important thing in the world. And they will be right to say so. It's my moon that I want to get to. You cannot tell me how to get to that moon. You can tell me what the principles of getting to a moon is, but the moon is mine.
Okay, so but by that standard, if it is subjective, maybe the Buddhist monk is on his moon.
No.
What do you mean no?
No,
you just said like Roger's on his tennis moon and Steve Jobs is on his iPhone moon, and the monk is doing isn't he doing exactly what he wants to do?
No, because he's working with the wrong physics, the wrong principles.
Why are you so sure?
Because he's not following the principles. Like it's like if you asked Einstein, look, this guy created their own physics. It's completely wrong, and they're shooting their rocket to the moon. Will they hit the moon? And Einstein would laugh at you, right?
Everyone says he's the happiest man alive.
But they're lying. Show me. That's what I said when you asked me if somebody called me, the happiest man alive would call me, and they would say, I'm the happiest man alive. All you have to say is prove it. And they won't be able to.
So that's it. He needs to prove it to me. I just have to figure out the test that will make him prove it. That sounds like a difficult problem, but I'm up for the challenge. Right, Mom? You've been listening to Happiest Man Alive. This podcast is produced by me, Amanda Maxim. Thank you, Don Watkins. Find us on the web at happiestpodcast.com. Music and sound was by Codebox, Poddington Bear, Exterminat, Lunatinker, and Jormarp. So who do you think is going to listen to this podcast?
I think people who are interested in this topic and who's not interested in how to be happy.
Prove my mom right by subscribing to this podcast. Thank you. Also, thank you to Raphael De Furio for sending me that article about the alleged happiest man alive. If you have information or analysis relevant to my quest to find the happiest man alive, I'd love to hear it. Please call me, 228-678-8897. All right, we'll talk soon.